Hello, guys. Can you see me? Am I live? This is so exciting. So it says I'm live. I see there are 51 of you in here. It's here. Yay. Oh, Hattie's saying hello. So this is so cute how you guys all got started in the chat. And it's so cute coming into all your little conversations about things you're sewing and your sewing memories. And I saw a question about the funniest thing you found in your sewing drawer. So um, I love you guys too. Hello, everyone. Hi, Hattie. Hattie, everyone's saying hello. Hattie is like on her bed. I'm in the studio today, by the way, because there's a lot going on in my house right now. I was kind of originally planning on doing this at home, but I'm having my kitchen redone, which is very exciting. But I have a contractor in my kitchen and I couldn't quite figure out the internet situation. So we are doing it in the studio today here in lovely Newburgh, New York. So I will tell you that next door to me is a hairdresser, and he is working today, and he's really loud and exuberant and plays loud music. So hopefully you won't be picking up on all that, and you will just be hearing me. I did not do so, guys. The first thing I have to tell you, since this is our first live stream for Patreon, yay! This is like a whole thing, this live streaming thing. So every time I have done live streaming before, it's just been with my phone and I've done it on Instagram. But live streaming in this kind of context is really complicated. And I have like my Sony camera over there, and I have like a cam link, and I have a ring light, and I have an Ethernet cable, and you won't believe everything that I've learned in the past few weeks. So I'm pretty proud of myself. I expect this to kind of like my setup to evolve and hopefully get better as we go. And I would love to do something like even incorporate another camera at some point so that we could do like sewing shots and stuff like that. But anyway, that's all to say that this is our first one, and I'm kind of like amazed at how advanced my setup is. So is Melisha here? So unfortunately, Melisha is not with us today. She had something to do, and it's also Saturday, so I usually don't make her work weekends. But so she wasn't able to join us, and she's really sad about it. But I was talking to her about we should do a live stream like maybe a weeknight or something like that, so that we could just do it after work and we could all kind of hang with Melisha. So that would be really fun. But yeah, it's just me and Hattie today. So what I'm thinking is that we're just going to kind of hang out and you guys can chat there. I have your questions that you submitted, and we'll just kind of chat and have a grand time here. I came into, what am I wearing? Oh, I knew this was going to be a question. So actually, I was just about to say, I came in a little early today to kind of get set up. And I also wanted to like finish this dress because I started this in a workshop. I think it was in Berlin, and it's a night and day dress, but I did something a little different with the sleeve. It has the elbow length bishop sleeve, but instead of like gathering it into that band, I just left it and hemmed it, and actually trimmed several inches off too. So it's kind of like a little bell sleeve. Let me just stand up so you can see the skirt too. This is the 3/4 circle skirt. And the reason I did it with the seam up the front is so that you can do this kind of effect with plaids and checks and stuff like that with the chevron. So these are bias cut panels. And this is a huge, large scale gingham I got it at my local quilt shop, Beetle and Fred, but I think it's by Cotton and Steel. Gertie, okay, you're asking about workshops. Yeah, we'll talk about workshops in just a little bit. Oh, I'm glad you all like the dress. So yeah, I just did something a little different with the sleeve. And so I think I've mentioned before that I tend to, I make a new dress every time I teach a workshop. But part of what happens is that the finishing doesn't get done in the workshop. So like the hems and like the hand stitching and all that stuff that I know we all kind of leave to the last minute or like can let pile up. I have like at least a dozen dresses sitting around from workshops that need that stuff done on them. So I came in early today and I finished the sleeve hems and the hem on the skirt. So I'm feeling pretty pretty accomplished today between all of my technology and the fact that I finished this dress. But yeah, I made this, I think I made this in Berlin in one of my workshops over the summer. So one of you just asked about workshops, and that was a common question in the submit your questions post. So why don't we just get right into it? So I'm not really traveling to teach at all this year. I'm teaching workshops here in New York, in Beacon, New York. So I do a series of I think I'll be doing 6 of them this year, and those are pretty small, and they've already filled for this year, unfortunately. So there isn't any space in those, but I am kind of sticking around here this year. I'm not traveling really at all for work. So I'm sorry if you were hoping I would come to you. This new schedule with the Patreon is really intense, and I'm actually really loving it, but we're on sort of like a monthly schedule now of releasing new content, which means we're going to be doing a video shoot every month and a photo shoot every month, as well as creating new patterns and new content. So I kind of felt like for my own mental health, it was probably good for me to stick around here while Melisha and I both get used to this new workload, which I'm, again, really excited about, not complaining at all, very excited. So I think it's just going to be sort of like sticking around here, and you'll get to see more of me in this sort of medium on your screens, and more video from me, which I'm really excited about. Yeah, okay, so one of you is coming to the workshop. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so, and then also I was just going to say, if you are interested in future retreats with me in Beacon, I do announce them like at the end of the year. So probably in October, November, I'll be announcing them. And I'm going to be announcing them to the 2 upper Patreon tiers first, so $14 and $17. And you also get a 5% discount on your retreat fee. So that will be happening sort of like at the end of this year in the fall. I'll be announcing those retreats to those Patreon tiers first. So you'll kind of have a first shot at it, because I know it's a little frustrating. They're small, so they fill up really quickly. Okay. So let's see. I did also just want to say, well, I want to start by thanking you all for joining the Patreon, because this is our exclusive Patreon live feed. So everyone who's here is in the Patreon, and I could not be more grateful to you all, and also just so excited at the way this month has turned out. We launched on February 1st, and it just grew way more quickly than we expected, and it's been like everything I hoped for. And I think the best part about it for me, well, there's several best parts about it, but one of the best parts about it is the way that I'm feeling engaged with this new content. We are, like I say, on a monthly schedule now of creating new content. So we're done with our March content, and that'll be coming out to you on March 1st, which is next week, actually, at this point. And so we're working on April and beyond. So it's just been very energizing for me to get to do this monthly content and to have your support of it. And then also, I think the other thing I'm really enjoying is this sort of connection with you all, working through video, through the platform and posts, the polls, the way that I've gotten to connect with you a little bit more has been amazing. And one of the things that I remember telling Melisha when we started the Patreon was that I felt like with Charm Patterns, there was sort of like an anticlimactic sort of process with Charm Patterns, because we would work for 8 months on a pattern, and then it would go out in the world, and it would take you all a few months to sew it, obviously. You know what I mean? Some people whip it up immediately, but for the most part, you're waiting a little bit longer to get feedback or see people's results. So it was just a longer form, just a longer process. And I've just been feeling really excited about the way we are now connecting with you all and getting you content quicker and on a shorter schedule. So anyway, I'm very excited. And I'm excited about these live feeds. I think this is gonna be really fun. So I was thinking I could just kind of go through some of the questions. You guys submitted 100 questions, and they're all really good. And so what I was thinking was I could, I'll do as many as I can today, and then I can also save them for next time too. So we will be doing a live stream like this that's like a Q&A once a month. And this is for the $3 tier and up. And then we'll also be doing a second live stream for the $7 tier and up, which I imagine will be more like activity based. So our first one is next Sunday, Saturday, the 29th at this same time. So a week from today, same time, same place. I'm going to be doing a little demo of a hair technique for you all. So I set my hair a lot in pillow rollers, which is how I did it last night. I've been doing my hair a lot more myself rather than having like Missy come to me, which I'm a little spoiled, as you know, with her because she's amazing. But so doing my hair myself and trying to get it to look really polished, but and also having days like today where you just kind of want to do a quick set and brush it out. So I'm going to show you how I do like my laziest set for just like a day at the studio or something like that. So we're going to do that next Saturday. So I'm going to show up in my hair curlers and I will like take them out and show you a brush out. So I think that'll be really fun. Okay, so let's get to questions, shall we? Oh, I really like this one. Someone said, you always look so amazing. Do you wear loungewear at home, like joggers/sweatpants and hoodies? If so, have you made your own and which patterns do you like? So there were a couple questions like that actually about like, what do I wear at home? What do I wear to the gym? Like how do I look cute in loungewear? And like the short answer is really that I don't even look cute. Like I don't worry about it at home. I'm like a big believer in comfort at home. And especially when you kind of like go all out in your daily life or like you have to do something where you look good on camera. When you go home, to me, that's like a sacred space. And I'm all about sweatpants. So I'm a big believer in sweatpants. I talk about this a lot. It's like not a secret. And you might have seen my cat sweatshirt that I wear a lot in my sort of behind the scenes shots. Because pretty much as soon as I get home, like the eyelashes are coming off, the bra is off, shoes, like everything. And it's just like down to square one, sweatpants, cat sweatshirt. And I don't make them just because I just kind of feel like, I mean, I've talked about sort of my sewing philosophies before, and I have my whole sort of worldview of I want to be always like feeling my fantasy or sewing my fantasy. And so pretty much everything I make has some sort of fantasy to it for me. And I just can't really get sewing sweatpants to match up with that worldview. So I haven't done it before, but I know that there are some good patterns out there. And I'd also be interested in doing a loungewear pattern at some point, maybe like some sort of like maybe 40s inspired pajama or something like that we could make in like comfier fabrics, like a knit or something like that. So that's an idea that I've kind of had rolling around in the back of my head for a while now. Like if I did kind of want to look cute at home, what would I wear? So I love the idea of doing it at some point, and the Patreon might be a good platform for that. And so just to sort of spitball on that, yes, please, vintage houseware, inspirations for shorter hair. Okay, lounge fantasy. Yes, it has to be a lounge fantasy. I mean, it just has to be the fantasy. So just to sort of like get into a related topic here, like what would be a good pattern for Patreon, and then what's a charm pattern? Like how are we going to make the distinctions here? And I think that it's going to naturally evolve over time, how we view the Patreon content versus the charm patterns content versus, say, book content if I write another book. I think for now, charm patterns, I kind of got into this a little bit already, but charm patterns is like it's a longer process. So for instance, like the Liz dress was like 8 or 9 months to make it happen. So something like that would never be like a Patreon exclusive, for instance, because Patreon, I'm really thinking of as this monthly content. And that doesn't mean necessarily that we have to be able to draft it super, super quickly. Like we're working ahead now. So we're working on things for like July and August. But for the most part, we're going to be keeping these a little bit simpler, and they're not going to be, we're not going to be starting them like completely from scratch, if that makes any sense. So like a good example of that would be, I've seen people asking for like bra patterns, and we don't have any in the works, but you know, if we ever did it, that would be something that we would have to be like researching from the ground up. We would be completely drafting from scratch. We don't have a sloper for a bra yet. So that would be a charm pattern just because of the amount of time, labor, research, and just sort of like the overall schedule for it. That would be a charm pattern. For Patreon, things that are going to work really well here are things that are expansions, which you already saw in month 1, because we're not doing a lot of testing too. That's the other thing, is like, is there going to be a long testing process for a pattern? If yes, then it needs to go into charm patterns. So so for instance, like with the Starburst dress, it had a lot of pieces, but we built it off of L'Amour, and it was an expansion of L'Amour. So we didn't have to test anything for it. I mean, we, you know, obviously walked all the pieces together and made sure that everything was working together, but there was we didn't go through our regular testing process, which is pretty complex and includes, we can test up to 20 different sizes. So obviously something like that isn't going to be a great fit for Patreon. What is going to be a great fit is those expansions where we don't need to do extensive testing, and then also standalone patterns that are less complex for whatever reason. So in March, we have a standalone pattern coming to you that I'm so excited about. It is so cute. It's a layering piece. You've seen a little sneak peek of it. And it has 7 pattern pieces, but it's fairly simple, and it's a quicker sew. And it also, because it was drafted from a pattern that we've done, we did not have to start with a new sloper for it. So that's what makes a good Patreon expansion, or I'm sorry, Patreon exclusive standalone pattern. Does that make sense? So just kind of when you're keeping in mind like your requests for content or what you might want to see on Patreon, that's just like a way that we've been sort of distinguishing the two, or the way I'm distinguishing it for now, you know, less than a month in. Okay. I'm looking at all your a Patreon like, oh, dressing gown. Yes, I'm very excited about dressing gown. A Merry Widow. I know. So guys, I know you all want like really complex lingerie, and I'm a little scared to do it. I have to be honest, because like Merry Widows are they have like a lot of pieces, and we would have to expand our sizing quite a bit. We already do 50 sizes with the band, and I'm sorry, with the dress and cup size combined. So it would be a huge project for us, but believe me, your interest has been noted, and hopefully it's something that we can do in the future. Okay, so what fabric should you buy to be ready for March? So we are looking at, our recommendation would be a stable knit. So anything like a ponte, a double knit. Let's see, what else do we use? Wool. Oh, we use some great boiled wool knits in the studio, and they worked out really well. So yeah, stable knits, and you need, the upper end of the range is 1 3/4 yards. So I don't have all the information you need for it yet, but it's going to be released next Sunday, so we are almost there. And if you have anything like that in your stash, or if you're out shopping, and you see a stable knit, by 1 3/4 yards. Okay. So also, a lot of the questions I saw here were about fabric. Okay, so this is from Amanda. Similar to the above question, it would be amazing if you had a shop or even links where we could buy the fabrics you use to make your sample clothes. I've tried to track down a few specific fabrics that you've used, and it can be difficult. You always make such amazing fabric choices. Thank you so much for saying that. I'm gonna try sitting a different way. How's this? Okay, yeah, I like this. So it kind of looks like I have no feet now. Okay, so fabric. I do a lot of fabric sourcing in the city. So you'll see a lot of my fabrics are from B&J, which is where I do the majority of my sourcing, and I really love working with them. They tend to be a little more pricey. So I'm trying to find alternatives for you guys where applicable. And one of the things doing forward, like based on this feedback, one of the things that we're going to do is we will be giving you links where possible of the exact fabrics that we used in the Patreon projects. And also a list of resources that includes online sources for similar fabrics or other suitable fabrics. So just based on that feedback, I think that's something that you guys will really enjoy. The only downside is I may not have personally tried that specific fabric, but at least it will give you a starting point. And I know a lot of us have to shop online, based on location and all of that. So hopefully that's a resource that will help you a lot and that we can continue to grow as well. Okay. Yeah, I know. So it's not obviously not going to work for you, like if you're in the UK and you don't want to order from the US, but hopefully, I think since this is such a sort of international community already on Patreon, maybe you can share in the comments what you're sewing with, what's worked well for you. It would be great if you guys can kind of be talking to each other and helping each other out. So, but we will try to cover as many bases as we can here. Okay. Okay. Good. I've never sewed with knits. Are you going to give pointers on that in your March video? So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about some, and actually one of the things I'm really excited about for the March video is that I got Melisha on camera again, and she's talking a little bit and giving her pointers for sewing with knits. So we'll be talking about the stitch that we used, needle type, interfacing types. So Melisha is going to share her tips with you, and yeah, we will be sharing sort of our top tips for sewing with knits. But stable knits are generally pretty easy to sew, and you can just use your sewing machine. You don't need a serger. So hopefully you'll find it a breeze, even if you haven't sewn with knits before. If you ever hear that sewing with knits is hard, usually people are referring to unstable knits, which are things like really slippery jerseys and slinky knits and stuff like that. They can be a real pain to sew. But I think that things like Ponte and double knit, as long as you're using the right needle and the right stitch, hopefully you won't have a problem with them. So I think that it's just going to be a really fun, quick sew. That is also really, really, really cute. I also want to tell you guys that we did a photo shoot for it on Thursday night in our local diner. So the diner is kind of like my home away from home in Beacon. I eat there a lot. I'm not a big cook. You might have picked up from past live streams or things I've said, but I'm not domestic in that way, and I don't cook. So I eat at the diner a lot, and it's a family-owned business, and they've become good friends over the years and have been really supportive of my business. And Tonya, who is one of the owners, has offered a couple times that it would be fun for us to do a photo shoot in the diner. And so I took her up on this offer last week, and we did it overnight. We came when they closed at 10 and then shot till 12:30. So we got some really fun shots in there, and I can't wait to share those with you guys. And so Melisha modeled a little bit, and I did a few shots too. And it was just a really, really fun night. So I can't wait to share those with you guys. Okay, anything else? Yeah, I know. Very excited for Melisha. Please send Melisha your love when you see the video. She's very nervous. So I think just getting reinforcement from you all will be good for her. Okay, so yeah, what else do we have here? Is everyone doing good? Everyone having a nice time? This is really fun. Hattie is just sleeping away, so release a tutorial on how to change the armhole. Okay. All right. Yeah, so we definitely have a lot of tutorials coming up in the future. So, and we've seen your requests for things like pattern matching, plaid matching, stuff like that, and it has all been noted. And I'm really excited to be incorporating some of those tutorials in the future. I mean, the great thing about this Patreon is we can really keep going with this forever, because I have so many ideas. You guys have so many ideas. When it comes to the mix of content with the patterns, tutorials, live streams, hair, makeup, there's just so much that we can do here. So I'm just excited to see how it evolves over the years. Okay. Oh, I feel like I have to address this one because it keeps coming up, and that is requests for menswear. Okay, so Zach says, I know the options are limited and mostly kind of boring, but any chance of some charm patterns menswear in the future? I can only sew so many gorgeous dresses for other people without wanting something for myself. Maybe a charm patterns teddy boy jacket or something along those lines. And this comment got a lot of likes, so I assume that means that you all agree with Zach. And yeah, Cassandra says, I second this. It would be so fun to make my boyfriend a matching sports coat to go with my dresses. And this is all like really cute. And I love your enthusiasm, but I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you guys a little bit with my answer because I don't sew menswear. I've maybe sewn, I can count on like this many fingers how many things I've sewn for men. And it's just not a big interest of mine. I don't have the experience. All reasons why I'm not a good candidate to design menswear or design patterns for menswear. So I think, at least for me, and I'm sure you all can relate, like to really get into a project, you have to feel like a lot of passion and drive to do it, especially when it's like the amount of work that it takes to make a garment. Like you have to really be driven. And for whatever reason, I just don't feel that spark for menswear. It's just not really my thing and I don't have the experience. So I don't feel like I could bring you a real quality project there. That said, I do feel like if someone ever came along who wanted to collaborate with me in some way on releasing a menswear pattern and they were a really good fit for the Charm Patterns vision and our process, that's definitely not something that I would rule out. So your voices have been heard and maybe, who knows, maybe something like that will happen in the future. But yeah, I just don't think that I'm the person you want doing that. What else? Totally understand. Okay, so someone's cleaning her kitchen. Cute. I will definitely keep my eye out to let you know if I find a good source for menswear too. Yeah, if I see anything great, and if I see of anyone who's designing great menswear patterns, I will definitely let you know. Okay, I'm gonna drink some water. Stay hydrated, everyone. Are you all having a nice glass of water, cup of tea, Diet Coke? I also have a Diet Pepsi over here. Okay. All right. So, Perrier coffee. So everyone's still drinking non-alcoholic beverages at this point. Tea, coffee. All right, everyone's being very wholesome. All right, so what else? Coconut water. Oh, there's a wine drinker. Someone's hand sewing a princess coat, drinking prosecco. Okay, yeah, the UK people are drinking. All right, that's understandable. Bourbon. So is there anyone here from Australia or New Zealand? Because I did actually just DM a friend in Australia and Sydney, and then I realized it was 4:30 in the morning there. So sorry, the water is not going down very well. So if there's someone. Is that someone? Lily. Oh, Lily. I know you guys. Hi, everyone. So it's early for you guys. So thank you for joining in. It's 8:30 a.m. Okay. All right. Thanks for joining us, guys. All right. So I really like this question from Katie, and it's kind of a longer one. Okay. So let's just go on this journey together. She has a lot to say. Okay. I work for a jewelry making magazine, and I'm going to be hosting videos featuring the pieces that will appear in our upcoming issues, along with tips/tricks on how to make them. I am freaking out, all caps freaking out, about being on camera. I judge how I look, sound, move, etc., 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 on and on. What on-camera advice or tips can you help me with? Are your videos highly scripted? Do you use cue cards for reminders? I tend to feel very on the spot, no matter how much I understand the subject matter or practice, and I forget my words or judge myself in my head while I'm talking. My coworkers are so nice and supportive, and they think I'm doing great, but I'll take whatever advice I can get on this because I don't feel great. I hope to be as charming, friendly, and informative as you one day. Thanks, Gertie and Melisha. I love this question because I just like related so much to what you were saying, Katie, if you're here. Oh, now I'm so parched. So I just, like I said, I relate so much to your question. Doing video is really, really hard. I also judge everything that I'm saying. I have a lot going on in my head while I'm talking to you guys. So there feels like a lot of noise up here, and then I'm also trying to communicate. So that I think is the hardest part of doing video for me. If you ever see me slow down a lot when I'm talking, like in my YouTube videos or the technique videos, if I just start to like really space out my words, the reason I do that is because it's so noisy inside my head that I like have to take my words really slowly and one at a time so that I can kind of sort through the noise and continue to talk. So if you ever see me do that, you'll know why. So I would say just be really like gentle with yourself. If you do need to slow down and kind of collect all the noise and try to articulate, that's okay. Like we tend to speak really quickly on camera. And so if you feel like you need to slow down and just sort of express yourself, that is totally fine. And they never notice on the other end. When I watch my videos back, I'll look at those moments where I felt really uncomfortable and it doesn't come through like I thought it would. So just remember that whatever you're feeling out there is not necessarily showing to the world. And I totally relate to all of that. Just in terms of how I do video, another reason I wanted to do the Patreon was that I feel like video is a skill that I could get better at. And the reason I don't see, I'm doing it. See how I just slowed down like that? I was like trying to sort through a lot of stuff up here. So the reason I felt like I don't do video a lot, or I wasn't doing video a lot. And I feel like it's a muscle that you just have to keep using to strengthen. And once you do it regularly, you'll just get better and better. And that's my hope for myself with the Patreon. So hopefully a year from now, I'll be looking at my own work on video and say, like, I've just gotten so much more comfortable, or I've gotten so much more articulate, or whatever it is. I have those same sort of fears about myself, and I'm hoping to like really hone my video skills as well. So I guess keep practicing is the other thing I would say, and just keep doing it. And remember, it's a muscle that you have to keep using to get stronger. The other thing I would say is that the other thing I picked up from your question, Katie, was that you said your coworkers are really nice and supportive and they say that you're doing great, but you're judging yourself. So I feel like that's always my fear when I got on video is the way to really freak myself out is to say, oh my God, everyone's going to judge me. Someone's going to write a nasty comment. They're going to think I'm so dumb. I messed this up. Like when you go into like the negative self-talk, that's when you can start to panic. And what I'm picking up from your question is that you do have like a lot of positive feedback from people in your life. So if you can try to connect to the positive self-talk and the positive feedback from people before you go on camera, that's a really good thing to do. So if I'm going to turn on my camera, I could think to myself like, oh God, they're going to hate me. Or I could think of something really nice that one of you has said to me and think like, I can't wait to connect with these people who really love me. Like just kind of like, I know it sounds kind of hokey, but like if there's some sort of like loving feeling that you can connect with about your audience, that will really help you. And just, I've even said to myself like, oh, everyone loves me before I start talking. And really it's just trying to like, I'll just remind myself like everyone who's here is here like out of positive feelings for me. And that's how they are with you when they're watching your video. So just try to connect to those positive feelings. So I hope that's helpful. It just really, your question really resonated a lot with me. The other thing you asked about was like cue cards or is it highly scripted? And I will say no. Like I tend to talk off the cuff quite a bit. But I do give myself like outlines, and I'll sit down the day before and outline every step of a project. So I have it in my head, and then I kind of keep it to the side as I'm working. So for me, not being highly scripted is a little better. And I don't have cue cards. I just kind of have something to the side to help me if I need it. All right, I hope that was helpful. What else? I hate hearing and seeing myself. Yeah, I relate so much. Hype yourself up for the videos, totally. Yeah, you got to be your own hype person. All right, well, I hope that was helpful, everyone. What else? Any other questions? Oh, I saw someone had a question about formatting patterns for projectors. No, I can't talk. For projectors. I've seen a lot of talk about this recently. I think it's kind of come up in sewing groups. So using like an overhead projector that projects like laser onto your fabric, and then you can cut out around the pattern without printing. So I've had a lot of questions about, well, not a lot, but like a handful. So I'm kind of curious from you guys if that's something that you are interested in. I mean, the research that I've done into it so far is that the projectors that people recommend are really pricey. They're like $200 to $300, and it's like quite a bit of trial and error with technology and setup. It sounds a little exhausting to me, but if it's something that people are really starting to buy projectors and really use them, we would definitely look into it. The one thing that concerns me about it is that I really recommend having a paper copy of your pattern so that you can make fit adjustments onto it. I mean, especially when we're doing dresses like this that are highly fitted, you really need to have a paper copy that you can manipulate and make any fitting changes to. So I will say that our AO files, you can use them now in projectors if you want, and I would trace them onto paper and then make a muslin and use them from there. It kind of terrifies me to think of people projecting directly onto their fabric, cutting out and then just making it. I mean, I think for kids' clothes or something like that, you can do that a little bit more. But for the kind of stuff that we're sewing, I think fitting is a little more crucial in the process. So I don't have a ton to say on it yet, but it is something I'm kind of keeping my eye on and seeing if it's something that really develops into something that a lot of people are using. Okay. Yeah, I know it's like interesting. It does sound technologically difficult. Yeah. So yeah, I'll just be interested to hear if it's something that really catches on for people. But yeah, it's for right now, I would say if it's something you want to do, you could use the AO file to project onto paper and trace it. Oh, okay, I'm switching to Diet Pepsi, everyone. How's everyone doing? I saw Amy come in from Poison Girls. Hi, Amy. Amy, you should come be a guest sometime on a live stream. Amy and I did a live stream together once, and as I was driving into the studio today, I kind of had a fantasy that we would do like a little live stream kind of panel thing. We could have there are like 4 other ladies who I've had for tea in the studio, all locals, who do sort of like fabric and sewing related things. So it would be fun to have like a panel of ladies where we could talk about our different businesses and what we do. Yeah, it would be really fun to just involve other people in this live stream process too. Okay. There she is. Hi, Amy. I also wanted to ask you guys, how is the live stream looking for you all? Like, are you experiencing any breaking up, any freezing? How does the picture look? How's the lighting? How's the sound? All of that. So I'd love your feedback on that. It's a little fuzzy, but no breaking up, completely smooth. Okay, good. Good, good, good. Looks great. No freezing. Amazing, no problem. Oh, good. Oh my gosh, this is great. This is one of the things I was really nervous about. Lighting is good. It looks great. Yay. Awesome. Okay. So because this is kind of a, excuse me, I don't know what's going on with my voice, guys, but because this is kind of a portable setup for me, like I could do this at home too. We could do lives elsewhere. So that would be fun. Hear you very clearly. Perfect picture. Okay. Great. Yeah. So personal internet will definitely be an issue. If your internet is slow, it can affect the streaming for you, but hopefully everything is great on my end. All right, good. All is fine. No breaking up. You have no sound, Tanya. You might, that might be something you need to adjust on your end. What book is that next to me? Okay, yeah, so the book is Jiffy Dresses. I got a lot of questions about foundation garments, and I get that a lot. So because that's something that I get a lot of questions on, when I wrote Gertie Sews Jiffy Dresses, which is my last book that came out kind of around this time last year, I did a whole like sidebar spread on my favorite foundation garments. And I really, so if you have this book, like take a look at this because this is the most comprehensive thing I've written on my favorite foundation garments. It has my favorite bras, different types of bras, what I would wear with a pencil skirt, what I would wear with a full skirt, my favorite petticoats, talks about corsets a little, and it names like by brand and model, like my favorite bras and all that. So I feel like if you have this book, like take a look at it because it definitely is the most like specific long form thing that I've written about foundation garments. I also wanted to say that we are including foundation garment notes in Charm Patterns. So this is the L'Amour Dress booklet. And in the fitting chapter, we have a note on foundation garments. So for instance, here it says, the right lingerie can do wonders to get that iconic 50s silhouette. Here are a few of my top tips. I recommend a long line strapless bra with this dress, like the Merry Widow from What Katie Did, which is B through E cups, and the Adelaide long line bra from Goddess, which is double D through L cups. So that's a really good range there. For the 3/4 circle skirt, a petticoat is a must if you want that beautiful fit and flare effect. I recommend the Zoe by Malcolm Modes for a subtle effect, and their Samantha and Melanie petticoats for a much more dramatic result. For the sarong skirt, you may wish to smooth out your curves with a girdle. Modern shapewear like Spanx works great, or you can find prettier vintage style options from What Katie Did and Rego. So this is something that we're going to be including in every charm pattern booklet going forward, just because I feel like, you know, you're going to want to change your foundation garments with every garment. So we can give you our favorite tips and recommendations for that specific design. So I get a lot of questions about petticoats a lot. The one I'm wearing right now is a Malcolm Modes chiffon petticoat. So there are two different kinds of petticoats usually. There's net and then there's chiffon. Chiffon is this really like fluffy, softer material. And then it usually has a lot of these ruffles at the bottom. So these are great because they don't have that like crunchy feeling, and they are also a little more subtle for the most part. You're not going to get like a huge flared effect from them. But I also have some tulle ones that I really like that are you will get more of like a wow kind of silhouette with them. What did I want to get into next? Oh, making your own petticoats. So I do not like making petticoats just because I feel like once you've bought the materials and the time you spent on them, they're pretty labor intensive. Like you may as well just buy one for $40. I tend to not sew things that I think are that it's more like worth my time to just buy it, if that makes any sense. So like sweatpants, for instance. But petticoats, I really hate sewing because I just hate all the gathering and the ruffling and all of that. So I do have a petticoat pattern with Butterick. So that's the only petticoat I've ever sewn because they specifically requested it. So you can check that one out if you really want a pattern to make one. But for the most part, I will just buy one. And I have petticoats in all different lengths and colors and materials. And once you've been sort of building up a wardrobe of vintage style dresses, you kind of have to have a lot of them. Okay. What garment am I wearing under today's dress? So today I'm wearing the What Katie Did Merry Widow, which I find it really comfortable, and I tend to wear it just with a lot of dresses, whether they're strapless or not. And it's kind of nice because like, you know, if my dress, you won't see any straps here or like any sort of, you know, lace or bra neckline here. So and it also kind of gives you like a nice cinching effect at the waist. So just to kind of give you like, it's just, you know, it's fairly subtle, and I find it really comfortable. So the Merry Widow from What Katie Did is definitely like my favorite vintage style foundation garment. It just really works well for me. Okay, I've made 6 of your petticoats. Oh my goodness, Julie, you are a champ. I cannot do it. Okay. Love the charm booklets. You got the Zoe. Yeah, all the Malcolm Modes petticoats are really good. Will I ever do, I've seen a couple questions today about will I do some fitting tutorials, and that's definitely something we could look at in the future since there's been so many requests for it. I kind of think those might be, it's kind of like right now I'm kind of trying to figure out where that would work its way into the Patreon content, because for now I'm kind of trying to make sure that you all have, that you feel like you're getting the most bang for your buck with Patreon, which means that you would have something downloadable every month. So so for now I'm thinking in terms of like patterns and expansions and all that sort of thing, but maybe down the road we could like incorporate fitting into it, or maybe that's something we could do on YouTube, since YouTube doesn't have the sort of downloadable component to it. Okay, I'm just kind of scrolling through. All right, let's look at some of your questions again. Everyone doing good? There's something going on with my voice. It's just like a little tickle in the back of my throat. Okay, any new charm patterns releases in sight? That's a great question. So yeah, we do have 2 new charm patterns, which I'm hoping, cross your fingers and pray to the sewing goddesses that this all goes well for around an early April release for these. So they are well into the process now, and I think you all have seen sneak peeks of at least one of these patterns. So they're separates, I can tell you that, and we'll be releasing 2 at once. So we're super excited about that. And then we also have some supplemental content for those coming on Patreon. Do they coordinate the 2 new patterns? Yes, they do. And we photograph them together. YouTube fitting tutorials would be great. Okay. I kind of feel like we should get Hattie in here. Hang out for just a second, guys. I'm going to grab Hattie. Hattie. She's here. Hattie, your public awaits. Aren't you going to say hi? She is extremely tired. Hattie, why don't you just sit on my lap? There you go. Yay, Hattie. Hattie, all your fans are right there. So if you want to just like look over here, Hattie, over here, over this way, up here, yay! Bring Henry on as well. Yeah, I know Henry. Henry's at home, but hopefully I can work out the internet issue at home so that we can do some there, and you can see Hattie or Henry too. Yay for Hattie! She remains unimpressed. I know. I know. I think she doesn't realize what's happening right now. Your fans are watching you. Oh, vintage makeup tutorials. I like that idea a lot. I was actually thinking, since we're going to be doing next week, we'll be doing hair. Maybe next month we could do sort of like an easy vintage makeup tutorial. I could just like show you guys how I do my makeup. It would be really fun. I've learned a little bit more about doing my makeup since I've had to do it more for video and photography sometimes. I would not say that I'm an expert, but I feel like I'm learning more every time I do it and spending more at Sephora every time I do it. So I've learned a little bit more, and I think it'd be really fun to show that on camera. Guide for choosing accessories. That could be fun. Oh yeah, another thing I wanted to say on the foundation garments question was that I was thinking maybe I could do a quick little video for Patreon and show you some of my favorite items. So I could just like have a pile of bras and petticoats and talk about the differences between each of them and sort of like what I might wear them with. Could be really fun. They never look where you want them to. I know, look at her. She's like, this is too much. It's just too much. Poor Hattie. It's been such a long day for her. Shoes. Okay, I see some questions about shoes. Yeah, I have a huge wardrobe of shoes. I get a lot of them on Remix. I know they're really expensive, but I really like those a lot. But yeah, we could do a little like shoe wardrobe tour, and I could talk about some of my favorite sources. Yeah, someone just said Remix vintage shoes. Yeah, they're my favorites. Okay. Do we have any more good questions for today? Oh, I like this one. Kimberly asked, how do you choose test sewists? That's really hard to say. Test sewists for upcoming projects. Maybe I've missed recent applications, but I'm curious as to the process. Thanks for being awesome. Thank you for being awesome, Kimberly. And yeah, it's been a little bit different every time how we approach the testing process. For some of our patterns, like the L'Amour dress, for instance, I really felt like we needed to see it on just a huge spectrum of sizes. And it was something that I felt comfortable sending out to people remotely. So I did put out a call. I regularly put out calls, I guess is the best way to answer this question. And at that point, like for the L'Amour dress, I was looking for probably about 20 testers. And usually the thing we're looking for most is we're looking at your measurements. And it feels very weird to just be like, like sorting by bust, waist, hip measurement and like kind of saying, oh, she might work, but like we're really looking for people who are going to fit into a certain size because we need to know how a certain size is working. So for instance, on the L'Amour dress, we wanted to have a good mix. I almost always wear, I do wear the size 6D/double D in charm patterns. So we're usually testing that. And Melisha wears like a 6B. So we're testing those sizes. So we don't have a lot of variety here in the studio. So we are looking for, first of all, the smallest end of the spectrum, so a 2A cup. And then we want to make sure we have the other end of the spectrum, which is a 20H cup. And then everything kind of like hitting all the points in between. So we want to have like a 12, a 16, but we also want to be hitting not all the cup size, but a good range of cup sizes. So really like, it's just like sort of a mad scientist process of like making sure we're hitting all of those measurements and seeing a good sampling of cup sizes and dress sizes on people. Then for the Liz dress, which was the one that we did next, we did not do an outside testing process. And the reason for that was that the cups were just pretty complicated to fit and to draft. So we were doing a lot of rounds of testing and looking at in different stages, and we really needed to like see it on people in front of us. So we were finding local fit models, and we were showing all the samples, having people come in, try it on, and we were looking at it. So those are two different ways we've handled it before. For the princess coat, I did another call, and I really just I sent it out sort of on a wide scale, like I did for L'Amour. And then you might have seen like a couple weeks ago, I just did a really sort of spontaneous call for a size 16 tester in my stories. So that's a size that we test a lot, sort of like the 16H cup, and I'm always looking for people sort of around that size. So if that is something that would interest you, Hattie. What is this? Why are you sitting like that? Is that the cutest way you can sit right now? Yeah, so that's just like a long answer to like we've handled testing a lot of different ways in the past, and we are always, oops, you okay? Okay, she's done with this. So yeah, I just kind of keep an eye on my stories and on my Instagram posts, and we often put out like a new call for testers. Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate any time when someone is willing to test for us, because it's like a process, and especially with the princess coat, like we made a lot of demands of the testers, so I knew it wasn't going to work for everyone, and we were like on a very short time schedule. So very appreciative when people can test for us. But if you have applied before and we didn't choose you, like it's nothing personal. It's honestly more about like, are we hitting the sizes that we need to hit? So if you've applied and we haven't chosen you, like please, don't let that stop you from applying again, because we may be looking for exactly your size next time. Okay. Foundation garments video sounds fun. Oh yeah, Royal Vintage Shoes and Rocket Originals. I haven't bought from those two brands before, but they are so cute. So I've seen them highly recommended. I see a question about matching up like a butter pattern with a starburst skirt. Yeah, I've gotten this question a lot. I will tell you that like so we will tell you if patterns are drafted to be interchangeable. So like L'Amour and Liz are interchangeable, and then the starburst pattern was an expansion on L'Amour. So all of those are interchangeable. If we don't specify, that means that it was not drafted to be interchangeable. It doesn't mean that you can't make it be interchangeable, but for whatever reason, because of how much ease there is in the design or where the seam lines are placed, they don't naturally work together, or they weren't drafted to work together. So my answer is always, you can certainly give it a try. Like if you wanted to use a butterick pattern with a starburst skirt, I would look at the finished measurements of the bodice versus the skirt, and at the waistline, and see what the difference is and adjust where you need to. But then also remember that you're going to need to get the side seams to match up, and potentially anything like darts, princess seams to match a dart, anything like that. You're just going to have to walk them together. So that's the process of putting two pattern pieces together along the seam line where they would be sewn, and walking them together and seeing where you need to add or remove to get them to match when you sew them together. So it's not difficult, it's just a process. And I really like the idea of making as many things interchangeable as possible, but again, it's not always possible. So we do have something coming up that we're going to do through Patreon exclusively, that will be an L project. So it'll be interchangeable with L'Amour and Liz, and you'll get those pattern downloads through Patreon. And we also have another Charm Patterns L pattern coming out. And it's something that I've seen requested a lot recently. So I know you're going to be very excited for the style. Okay. All right, everyone. I'm just kind of like scanning. There's so much chatting going on. So we're at about an hour now, and I don't want to keep you all Saturday or Sunday, as it may be. But I just really want to say thank you all for joining in. This has been so much fun, and please come back again on Saturday, a week from today. We're going to be doing that little hair tutorial live. So same time, same place. And I will show you my little roller set brush out. I also wanted to say that next Sunday is March 1st. So we will be releasing the new YouTube video for March, which I think I have not been, very good at keeping this a secret, or I didn't even try to keep it a secret, but we're going to be doing the Liz dress on YouTube. So start to finish sewing the Liz dress. So I'm going to set another premiere for that. So if you joined into the last premiere where I sewed the crop jacket, it was really fun. We did kind of a YouTube chat like this, and I was like chatting with you guys, and it was really fun, like while we watch the YouTube video live. It was super fun. So I'm planning on setting the YouTube premiere for next Sunday for the Liz dress. And I'm thinking it might be around this same time or maybe a little earlier, because I think that works for more people. No, around like 1 p.m. EST. Okay. And so the other thing that's going to happen on Sunday is the new Patreon project will release the pattern downloads as well as the video. So I'm so excited to hear what you all think of the March project. I think you're going to love it. And I can't wait to see your versions of it. So yeah, the premiere was really fun. I have to say, I did not know what to expect, and it was just like super fun. And it made it really exciting for me too, because the way there was like a little countdown on YouTube, and like we were like watching it together as a premiere just made it feel really special. And the way you guys all participated in it made it really special for me too. So thank you. And I will definitely be doing it again next Sunday. All right. So thank you all so much for doing this. Thank you for being patrons. And thank you on behalf of Melisha, who couldn't be here this time, but we will get her involved next time or soon. So I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and have fun sewing or, drinking Prosecco or whatever fabulous thing you're doing. All right. So have an excellent day, and we'll see you soon. See you next week, hopefully. Mwah. Hattie, say goodbye to everyone. She's sleeping. Okay. Bye, everyone.